Hello, strong and thoughtful soul. If you're here, it's no coincidence. You've decided to seek something deeper, something real, and that already sets you apart from the rest. There are those who go with the flow of the world, and then there's you, who dares to pause, question, and look inward. Let me tell you something. The advice from Marcus Aurelius that you're about to discover can not only change your life, it can fully awaken you. Do you know why this message is so powerful? Because it comes from someone who held the greatest empire in the world in his hands, and yet he faced his inner demons like any human being. Marcus Aurelius did not live in a palace of peace. He lived surrounded by wars, plagues, betrayals, death. But his mind was a temple. He was not a comfortable philosopher, he was a warrior of thought. And his words, written not for the world but for himself, show us a direct path to something many will never find. Inner freedom. Today I invite you to see this video as a mirror, not to see what you already know, but what you can become. Because there's something most forget. It's not about what happens outside. It's about how you choose to live it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." And you, what quality have your thoughts had lately? Do they build you up or sabotage you? Don't get me wrong. This is not a pretty talk about ancient philosophy. This is an urgent call, a reminder that you and only you can decide whether today will be just another day or the day you start truly living. And that advice that can change everything is simpler than you imagine, but more powerful than you've been told. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do not waste time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one." Yeah, that clear, that direct. Are you waiting for someone to give you permission to start living with courage? Are you waiting for life to calm down so you can be happy? He didn't wait, and you don't have to either. Now think about this. Amid his duties as emperor, while leading armies, resolving political crises, and facing the loss of loved ones, Marcus Aurelius asked himself one question: what is within my control? That question, repeated with discipline, saved him, and it can save you. Look, you cannot prevent someone from lying to you, from betraying you, from the world changing, but you can decide whether that makes you wiser or more bitter. That's what no one tells you. Control is not about dominating others. It's about mastering yourself. Quick example. Imagine you're in an unfair situation. Someone insults you, judges you without knowing you. How do you respond? Do you react with fury, losing your center? Or do you choose to respond like Marcus Aurelius, who saw every attack as an opportunity to prove his virtue? There lies the secret. You're not weak when you choose calm. You're powerful. You're not naive when you decide to forgive. You're free. And you're not cold when you don't react impulsively. You're master of yourself. Most live like leaves in the wind, but you can be like a mountain. When others get lost in the noise of the world, you can walk silently, with purpose. When others seek revenge, you can cultivate peace. When the world wants to dominate you with fear, you can respond with reason. And that's not easy, but it's possible, and you can achieve it. Because if you've come this far, it's because inside you there is a seed of greatness that refuses to die. And that seed, although it sometimes seems small, has the power to break the hardest stone: your own excuses. Because let's be honest, you already know what you should do. You felt it. That impulse to improve, to surpass yourself, to change your habits, your thoughts, your attitude toward life. But what happens? You postpone it. You justify yourself. You hide behind, "I don't have time. I'm not capable. It's not the right moment." Do you know what Marcus Aurelius would say to that? You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You're not here for the world to treat you well. You're here to become strong, just, wise, and virtuous, despite how the world treats you. Look around you. Everyone wants success, recognition, peace. But almost no one is willing to look inward and face themselves. You are, and that already puts you on another level. Want a real example? Imagine a man who has it all: power, wealth, command over thousands of soldiers. But every night he sits in silence writing, asking himself if he acted justly, if he was patient, if he mastered his impulses. That man was Marcus Aurelius. And that's what makes him so different. It wasn't his position. It was his discipline. It wasn't his fame. It was his ability to see his mistakes and correct himself. Because in the end, what defines you is not what the world says about you, but what you do when no one is watching. So don't look outside. The advice that will change your life is not a magic formula, nor a fleeting motivation. It is this: take control of yourself. Don't react. Choose. Choose your response. Choose your attitude. Choose your purpose. And don't tell me it's hard. Of course it is. But hard doesn't mean impossible. Hard means it's worth it. Every time you master an impulse, overcome a negative thought, act with virtue instead of rage, you're training the most important muscle of your life, your character, because that's what Marcus Aurelius wanted you to understand. True victory is not over others. It's over yourself. Are you willing to conquer yourself? Then get ready, because conquering yourself isn't a pretty phrase to frame. It's a daily battle. And it's not fought with swords or shields, but with decisions. With those small choices you make when no one applauds, when no one sees you. When you decide not to fall into complaint, when you choose not to compare yourself, when you prefer discipline over momentary pleasure. Right there, you're living Marcus Aurelius's advice. Look, in a world that constantly yells at you, do what you feel, Marcus whispers something much braver. Do what is right, even if you don't feel like it. Because you are not your emotions. You are not your impulses. You are what you do with them. And if you understand this, not only with your mind, but with your heart, you will be above 90% of the people who drag themselves through life without purpose. Do you know the difference between you and them? You're not here to complain. You're here to grow. And yes, it will hurt. Yes, you will fall 1,000 times, but every time you get up with more clarity, more strength, more control, you will be building something no one can take away: your character. And what is character? It's that inner core that doesn't tremble when everything collapses. It's that firm voice that reminds you who you are when emotions try to hijack your mind. Marcus Aurelius knew it. He felt fear, anger, sadness too. He was not a Stoic robot. He was a man who chose, again and again, not to be a slave to himself. And you can do it too. When everyone complains, you give thanks. When everyone judges, you observe. When everyone runs away, you act. Not because you're perfect, but because you're awake. And that, in these times, is already a form of rebellion. Do you see what's happening? This advice, which seemed just another phrase, begins to change how you look, think, and breathe. Because it's not just an idea, it's a shift in focus, a before and after. Because if you've come this far, it's not just out of curiosity. It's because inside you, there's an intuition, a spark telling you, this is what I need. And you're right. Let's go further. Remember the phrase we mentioned before? Do what is right, even if you don't feel like it. That's the essence of true freedom. Not the superficial freedom to do whatever you want, but the deep freedom of not being a slave to your impulses. Think about it. How many people do you know who live reacting like trained animals? If something bothers them, they explode. If something tempts them, they give in. If something hurts, they run away. That's not freedom. That's emotional slavery. And you who are listening to this have the potential to break that pattern. Marcus Aurelius said with surgical precision, "The obstacle on the path becomes the path." And what does that mean in your day-to-day? That what you see today as a problem, that difficult person, that unfair situation, that fear that won't let go, isn't there to stop you. It's there to shape you. The obstacle is not the enemy. The obstacle is the teacher. Imagine for a moment that every painful situation in your life has been training. Not punishment, training to strengthen you from within. And suddenly everything changes. You're no longer a victim of what happens. You are the protagonist of how you use it. Did you lose something? Learn to let go. Did someone fail you? Learn to trust without naivety. Did they ignore you? Learn to validate yourself without needing approval. Because that's another great lesson from Marcus Aurelius. The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy. You're not here to stoop to the level of those who don't understand life. You're here to rise. You don't shout when you're hurt. You breathe and observe. You don't hit back. You respond with intelligence. You don't wait for justice. You act with virtue. And that, although many don't see it, is your greatest power. Most seek success. You are building something bigger, an invincible mind. Do you realize? Every word Marcus Aurelius wrote was a declaration of war against mediocrity. And you, by putting this into practice, join that same fight. A silent but real fight, an internal revolution. And in that revolution, you are the warrior. Because a warrior is not the one who shouts the loudest, nor the one who shows the most muscle. A true warrior is the one who, amid chaos, remains firm. Who, even if trembling inside, does not betray himself. And you know it. You've felt it. That internal tension when you're about to fall into the usual, but decide to do what's right. That is your battle, and every time you choose well, even if no one applauds, you are winning. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations for others to read. He wrote them for himself, to not forget who he was, to remind himself that virtue is not shouted, it's practiced. And you are here, listening to this, because deep down you want to remember that too. You don't want a superficial life. You don't want an empty existence full of quick pleasures and soulless achievements. You want something more: coherence, peace, purpose. And you know what? That can't be bought. It's trained. It's built every morning when you choose to get up with determination. Every afternoon when you decide not to give in to fatigue. Every night when you review your day not with guilt, but with honesty. Ask yourself, as Marcus Aurelius did, have I been just today? Have I been brave? Have I been master of myself? If the answer is no, it's okay. Tomorrow you'll have another chance. But if the answer is yes, then no matter what happened outside, today was a victory. Now imagine living like this every day. Imagine having a north, an inner clarity so strong that nothing knocks you off your center. Imagine looking at others with compassion, not judgment. Making decisions with wisdom, not urgency. Living with direction, not reaction. That is the advice from Marcus Aurelius that can change your life. Train your mind, strengthen your character, and the world will stop having power over you. You're not here to survive. You're here to master your existence from the highest place, your consciousness. And you're doing it. Even if you don't notice, even if you don't fully feel it yet, you're already moving forward. You're already moving forward. And that progress is not always visible from the outside. Sometimes it's not noticed in applause, nor immediate results. Sometimes true change happens in silence, when you decide to pause before exploding, when you think before speaking, when you choose temperance over impulse. Do you know what's most fascinating about this? That while most live trapped in the sway of emotions, you are doing something very few dare to do. You are developing inner strength, and it's not a rigid, arrogant, or cold strength. It's a calm, firm strength that doesn't need to show itself because it sustains itself. Marcus Aurelius didn't seek recognition, nor did he want to seem wise. He wanted to be wise. And that difference changed everything. Today, it's your turn to make that choice. You can keep looking for fleeting motivations, external scapegoats, distractions that numb you. Or you can do what almost no one does. Look inward and honestly tell yourself, I am capable. Not because the world says so, but because I am training for it. And there, right in that thought, true transformation begins. Imagine every day as a training ground. Your mind is the field. Your character is the weapon. And difficult situations aren't enemies. They're opportunities to test yourself. Today, for example, maybe you had to deal with a rude person. Did you stoop to their level, or did you maintain your integrity? Maybe you suffered a loss, an unexpected blow. Did you sink into complaint, or did you decide to resist with dignity? That is living as Marcus Aurelius taught, acting according to reason, guided by virtue without depending on the outcome. And yes, it hurts sometimes. Yes, it costs. But tell me, what's worth more? An easy life or a life with meaning? The world out there will offer you 1,000 ways to escape. Promises of effortless success, pleasures without commitment, validation without authenticity. But you're not made for that. You didn't come to settle. You came to build something eternal inside you, something no one can steal from you. A way of living that doesn't depend on luck, circumstances, or others' judgment. That's the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. And that's the wisdom you can apply today. So what will you choose? To follow the crowd? Or to stand firm and be the master of your mind? To complain? Or to act? To surrender? Or to conquer? The choice is yours. Because remember what he said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. And if you grasp that deeply, your life will never be the same. If you grasp that deeply, your life will never be the same. Because from this moment forward, every choice you make, no matter how small, will be a step toward freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from anger, freedom from the chaos of the world. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. You don't need a sign from the universe. The power to change your life is already inside you, right here, right now. So rise up, be the ruler of your thoughts, the master of your emotions, the architect of your destiny. Remember, Marcus Aurelius didn't seek to control the world. He sought to control himself, and that made him a true emperor, not just of Rome, but of his own life. You can be that too. The path is difficult, but it is yours. Take the first step today. Start small. Observe your thoughts. Question your impulses. Choose virtue over comfort. And if you fall, get up again. Every failure is an opportunity to grow. Every struggle, a lesson. Because the greatest victory is not the one celebrated by others. It is the silent victory of mastering yourself. So take this moment, breathe deeply, and decide. Will you let the world dictate your life? Or will you live by the wisdom of one of history's greatest thinkers? Will you be a leaf blown by the wind or the mountain that stands firm? The choice is yours. Make it count.